topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the host and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Draw me close to you, never let me go. And lay it all down again, to hear you say that I'm a friend.
Hey, the Almighty Creator desires a deep personal relationship with you. My name is James Robertson. I'm a researcher, publisher, and teacher regarding the matters and truths of the Almighty Creator, whose true name is Yah, the eternally self-existing. I've been actively serving him since 1993, over 31 years. If you're not actively serving Yah, then by default you're serving Satan. My objective is to show you how you can make a big difference on the earth and qualify for a position of high esteem in heaven for eternity. It's important to understand that as a believer, just being good is not the point. It is relationship with Yah that counts. Without this, you will be in a very unpleasant place in heaven with no way out. My aim is to show you how to get close to Father. If you're a good person without a clear relationship with Yah, then you're in a spiritual no man's land and will not enter heaven when you die. The Creator has said regarding unbelievers, why would I want someone to spend eternity with me when they do not believe I exist? Yah is calling everybody on the planet to be involved and serve him and help him to have victory over Satan. My goal is to show you how to do this. Fundamentally, we each need to learn to see things on earth from Yah's perspective, and my aim is to teach you how. Please visit my website, www.endtimeissueministries.org. That's endtimeissueministries, one word, .org, or email me on james@endtimeissueministries.org. That's JAMES@endtimeissueministries.org. Today we're going to look at Where Will You Spend Eternity, Part 14. The overview, we're going to look at what is required in order to qualify to sit on a high throne in heaven for eternity. We'll look at the last battle. We'll then consider an important requirement. Then we will look at the overcomers, and I will then share a declaration I made in April 2004, 20 years ago. Finally, we will look at the state of your relationship with the Almighty Creator. This broadcast is based on the article 2024-0103, Where Will You Spend Eternity, with commentary on the Final Quest, 3rd edition, Part 14, originally written in 2003. Today we're going to look at, in the Final Quest, the section which is headed The Throne of Grace. On page 120, paragraph 3 of the Final Quest, Rick Joyner, the writer, realizes that the throne of judgment is also the throne of grace and requests grace to serve the Almighty, for grace to finish his course. He asks for grace to love the Almighty the way he is experiencing in the vision, so that he can be delivered from delusions and self-centeredness. He asks for salvation from himself and the evil of his own heart. He asks for the love he feels at that moment to flow continually in his heart. He asks for the heart of the Almighty in his love. He asks for the grace of the set apart or Holy Spirit to convict him of his own sin and testify of the Almighty and of Yeshua as they really are. For grace to testify of that which is prepared for those who come to the Almighty. For grace to preach the reality of the judgment. For grace to share with those who are called to occupy the empty thrones and give them words of life to keep them on the path of life. Words that will impart to them the faith to do what they've been called to do. I would suggest that every person on the planet could usefully make that request. It covers a wide range of topics, and it's presented in the context of deep revelation that Joyner experienced as he came before the judgment seat. I strongly encourage you to get hold of the book and read it. As I've said before, it's available on Amazon. It's available used to be available, I can't say now, but I would think it's still available in Christian bookshops. There's a copy on the website under the ETI Bible version page. Just, you need to read it, folks. That's all there is to it. On page 121, paragraph 3, Yeshua states that we must be constantly conscious of both the kindness and the severity of the Almighty, and that we must remember both if we are to stay on the path of life and not fall into deception. Yeshua indicates that it is grace to know both of these, and that all the experiences that Joyner has been given in the visions is grace directed at this objective. It therefore is imperative to consciously seek to know both the chesed or love and the judgments of the Almighty in our lives continuously. Sadly, from observation, I'm not sure that very many people know either of those things. There are some people who know the chesed, the love, and they tend to take it to unrealistic extremes. There are not many who know his judgments. There are not many who ask for judgment. I've spoken before of the prayer that comes out of the final quest: Father, judge me severely, correct me harshly, that I may serve you more perfectly. And I commend that prayer to you if you're serious about serving the Almighty. The next section in the final quest is headed The Last Battle. On page 123, paragraph 3, 122, excuse me, it is stated that Yeshua is now waiting for his enemies to be put under his feet, that is, to be made his footstool. Refer to the Bible book of Hebrews, chapter 10, verses 12 to 13. But this man, after he had offered one sacrifice for sins forever, sat down on the right hand of Yah, from henceforth expecting till his enemies be made his footstool. It is also stated that the legions of messengers, the angels, that have been on standby for this time have been released, and the hordes of hell have also been released. It is stated that what is now unfolding on earth is the last battle. So in considering what has been presented thus far, it is perhaps useful to consider that the spiritual dispensation in which we now find ourselves is very different to that which prevailed until 2 decades or so ago. Well, I guess that's really 3 decades ago, isn't it? This was written a while back, and I missed that when I updated it. Are you willing to accept the challenge? I want to note an important requirement that comes out of what I've just read. In the article 2022-1106, Yeshua, in brackets, incorrectly, Jesus, is seated at the right hand of the Father, waiting for his enemies to be made his footstool. Look at the web page of the same name on the website. It is stressed that it is you and I, the believers, who have to make Yeshua's enemies his footstool. Folk, there are references in various writings to enemies and vanquishing enemies and defeating enemies and fighting enemies. It's really important to understand that for the most part, those enemies are not human. Those enemies are spiritual. They're demonic, ancestor spirits, spirits of deceased unbelievers, and they are what is typically called angelic, satanic messengers or angels that followed Satan into rebellion. That is where the battle is fought, and the battle is fought with the armor of Yah that is depicted in the book, The Final Quest, and is referenced in Ephesians chapter 6. And I'm just going to read that out to you, or relay that to you in the way that we pray every night. Father, help us to wear your full armor, the belt of truth, the sure-footed shoes of the good news of peace, the helmet of salvation, the breastplate of righteousness, the shield of emunah, of faith, with which we quench the fiery darts of the wicked one, the mantle of humility. We thank you that you help us to wield your commandments as a sharp two-edged sword, dividing between truth and error, and tearing down principalities, powers, thrones, and dominions. We thank you that you help us to pray in the Spirit at all times without ceasing. So that's my rendering of that. I've added a bit to it with the mantle of humility and the way I've worded it. But it is fundamentally important. And what I ask you to notice is that it is all directed at attitude, state of mind, and taking action against the demonic and satanic realm by speaking truth, by having emunah, faith, and so forth. It is not killing other people because you think that they're in error and that you're doing Yah a favor by killing them. It's not achieved by crusades and pogroms and other abominations. I've increasingly come to understand that Yah is peace-loving, He's gentle, He's kind. There is a lot, particularly in the Old Testament of the Bible and in the Quran and so forth, about people killing other people. And I increasingly come to the conclusion that that is a manifestation of what people think and believe, much more than it is a function of what Yah wants us to believe. I am personally convinced that Yah wants peace on the earth. He does not want believers killing believers. He does not want believers killing unbelievers, and he doesn't want unbelievers killing believers. He actually wants the killing to stop. So please consider that if you are one who is of a vengeful disposition. The next section in the final quest is called The Overcomers, and it reports Jonah's experience in the vision after he leaves the judgment seat and meets with some who are sitting on thrones. On pages 124 and 125, Jonah reports a form of communication in heaven that transcends words. It is something that in earthly terms might be called telepathy, but the way he describes it is much more profound. On page 125, paragraph 3, it is suggested that this level of communication was lost after the Tower of Babel in Genesis 11:9. Therefore is the name of it called Babel, because Yah, the eternally self-existing, did there confound the language of all the earth, and from thence did Yah, the eternally self-existing, scatter them abroad upon the face of all the earth. So, one of the things that I get out of the final quest is the extreme level of supernatural enablement that is granted to those who make it to heaven. In particular, those who make it to the front of the throne room, to the higher ranks, the overcomers, the friends. Huge glory, huge power, huge supernatural gifts. And even the people who are the least in the throne room have substantial supernatural powers and gifts. Don't you want that? I know that I do. It is stated that we can only experience such communication when we're freed in the presence of the Almighty. On page 125, paragraph 4, Joyner indicates that, quote, when Adam's transgression caused him to hide from the Almighty, it was the beginning of a most terrible distortion of what man was created to be, as well as a severe reduction of his intellectual and spiritual capacities. These could only be restored when we come out of hiding. 126.1, opening ourselves to the Almighty and to each other, becoming genuinely transparent. It is as we behold the glory of the Almighty with an unveiled face that we're changed into his image. The veils are causing our hiding. The statement about the reduction in the capabilities of mankind that resulted from Adam's transgression is a really important aspect of understanding our current situation. Many believers at some level seem to believe that the present generation is the most advanced generation technologically and spiritually that has ever walked the earth. The reality, which is not within the scope of this article, but which is alluded to in the above quote, is that mankind has degenerated massively spiritually from the time of Adam. In fact, mankind's recent technological advances are only a limited recovery of the technology that was in existence at the time of Noah or Nuh, as evidenced by the books Dead Men's Secrets and The Killing of Paradise Planet, both by Jonathan Gray, available at the website www.archaeologyanswers.com. That's archaeologyanswers, one word.com. They're also available in the article 2023-0405, Archaeology Answers, material by Jonathan Gray, and on the website, on the web page of that name. See also the article 2023-0404, more about the flood, on the website, Proof of Global Flood, complete video. Folks, there's so much wrong thinking about where we are today. Read these two books. There was huge intellect, huge engineering and technical ability at the time of Noah. That's where the pyramids, etc., of Egypt come from. That's where all the remains of these fantastic cities around the world come from. We are a pale shadow of Adam. Adam was at least 6 meters, 18 feet tall, massively capable, massive intellect, massive spiritual powers. We don't even begin to comprehend what we've lost. And yet mankind today is so proud of their accomplishments. We think we're the best. We think we're the greatest. We think we are greater than any previous generation. And in fact, we are degenerate and far from Yah. It's only when one can grasp just how far the present generation has fallen from knowledge of the Almighty and knowledge of his ways that one can really begin to see how big a challenge it is today to qualify to enter heaven at all, and particularly to qualify to sit on a throne for eternity. In 126.2, Joyner states, when the Almighty asked Adam where he was after the transgression, it was his very first question to man after the fall, and it is the first one that we must answer if we are to be fully restored to him. Of course, the Almighty knew where Adam was. The question was for Adam's sake. That question was the beginning of the Almighty's quest for man. The story of redemption is the Almighty's pursuit of man, not man's pursuit of the Almighty. When we can fully answer this question, knowing where we are in relation to the Almighty, we will have been fully restored to Him. We can only know the answer when we are in His presence. Folks, that's sobering stuff. Do you know where you are relative to the Creator? Do you know what your standing with Him is? Do you know what He would say to you if you were to die this instant? What is your expectation for when you come before the judgment seat? And it doesn't matter how young you are, that's not very far away. If you're well advanced in years, you really need to answer that question. On page 126, paragraph 3, Joiner says, quote, "That was the essence of that's Joiner's entire judgment seat experience. The Almighty already knew all that there was to know about me. It was all for my sake, so that I would know where I was. It was all to bring me out of hiding, to bring me out of darkness into light." It's really so important that we recognize that the Almighty does know all there is to know about us. He knows about our secret sins, our desires, our dreams, our lusts, our fears, our whatever. He knows about the painful experiences that have created emotional scars, beliefs, automatic reactions, etc. When He brings people together in partnership, in marriage, in ministry, in business, He knows everything about them. He is not surprised by their quirks and their habitual sins. Just to turn to Joiner's comment there, to bring me out of hiding. It's important to understand, here's a man who's a notable prophet, emissary, spokesman, apostle. Massive spiritual experience. And he concludes after he's been to heaven that he's in a really dark, bad place. So if a man who has had an experience like that draws that conclusion, what's it going to be like for you and me? It really bears thinking about, folks. Where are you relative to Yah? Where will you find yourself when you die? Yet so frequently when believers are convinced the Almighty has brought them together in marriage, in ministry, in business, etc., the moment one of them discovers something about the other that they do not approve of or like, they reject them and break the partnership. They lose sight of the fact that the Almighty is not surprised. In 126:4, Joiner states that the Almighty is seeking to be one with His people. He wants us to see things in union with Him. In 127:1, it is stated that the, quote, darkness in the world is perpetuated by the compulsion to hide that began after the fall. Walking in the light is more than just knowing and obeying certain truths. It is being true. It is being free from the compulsion to hide. Folks, something that I don't think most people realize. Father Yah went to a huge amount of effort to create this universe, to create this solar system, to create our sun, to create planet Earth, to create the moon and the stars, to create the plants and the animals, and to create us. For one reason and one reason alone. He wanted friends. He wanted people he could talk to, people he could invent things with, people that they could enjoy doing things together. Stop and think about it. Are you such a person? With respect, there are very few people like that on the earth today. Perhaps no more than a handful. If you're not confident you're one of those people, you're missing the point of your life. And what's more, Father is lonely. There are 100 billion, more than 100 billion ancestor spirits, demons on the planet, and there's a handful of people who really care about him. What are you going to do about that? It seems to me that this is a big part of this message. Are you willing to make a decision to really seek the Almighty rather than hiding from him? Are you willing to accept that he knows everything about you, and yet he still loves you and wants to heal you and draw you close to him? And he wants to offer you an opportunity to sit with Yeshua on a throne for eternity. It's a wonderful offer if you can accept it. But it requires your free will choice. In 127.2, Joyner stresses that part of being free from hiding is that we are also transparent with others. There's much more in the remaining pages of the final quest. If this message has made an impact on you, please make every effort to read the book and read the whole book. There's much that's contained therein that is not contained in this message. As I've said before, you can purchase the book on Amazon.com or .co.uk or whatever, or there's a copy available on my website at the link mentioned before under the ETI Bible version page, as well as a scanned copy of my personal copy of the book with markup and notes available. And I've fairly well advanced in correcting names, etc., in my rendering of the book with footnotes and commentary. When I wrote this article, this ebook, Where Will You Spend Eternity, and published it in April 2004, which is now 20 years ago, I made the following declaration. I, James Robertson, do hereby declare that I've prayed about this document and its contents. I declare that the Almighty has stated to me that this message is 90% as he would have it, 98%. So my understanding has evolved since then. I've learned a lot. My understanding has matured a lot. But the message is still basically the same. I updated it in 2019, I think it was. And then I updated it again a few months ago. And I made very few changes to it. It's a really important message. I believe that when I wrote it, I was at some level inspired. And for that reason, I believe it is valid for me to commend this article to you. It's on the website. Where will you spend eternity? There's I will publish in a couple of weeks, when I've got the transcripts of all the broadcasts, I will publish a version, Where Will You Spend Eternity, elaborated, which will have everything that I've said in these broadcasts. I encourage you to read it, and I encourage you to take it seriously. Then, closing the second edition in 2019, I wrote, since writing this book, I've walked a long road, a further 15 years, and learned many things. In particular, I've come to understand that almost everything that I learned through the church is highly corrupt and mistaken. I've learned that since Satan was sent to the pit for 1,000 years on the 3rd of May 2003, the spiritual dispensation has changed dramatically, although this is only visible to those who are really observant. So I don't care whether you are Christian or Muslim or Jewish or Hindu or Buddhist or whatever. Your particular flavor of religion is highly corrupt and full of error. Because how do I know this? The satanic realm rules on earth, and they don't allow things to happen that are not corrupt and in error, barring certain individuals make a huge effort to seek truth. I've learned that we're not taking part in some scripted pantomime. We're engaged in a battle, the outcome of which is by no means certain. And as a consequence, reports of what Father has said that imply a guaranteed outcome are mistaken. In the visions and experiences of Rick Joyner, as with every other spokesman or spokesperson of the Almighty through the ages, Father has confided his plans and goals, not a pre-recorded script. We're given these experiences that we can make them happen. Just as Daniel set himself to fast and pray for the return of Israel to the land of Israel from Babylon, based on the prophecy of Jeremiah. Therefore, do not sit back and think that everything will come right. The back of the book does not say that we win. In fact, Father Yah has clearly stated to me that if the contest were to end right now, he would be very close to losing it, and that all indications are, at present, that by 3003 he will lose, and this is a dramatic turning around on earth, with people seeking all truth, praying the necessary prayers, and seeking energetically to live above sin, which of necessity requires that we get our doctrine right. There's a huge amount on the website to help you do just that. There are prayers you can pray. There are rituals that you can do to cleanse yourself. There's guidance on drawing close to Father. There's an article, 7 Components of Drawing Close to Yah. It's behind the home page and lower down in the menu. I encourage you not to sit back. I encourage you to actively start seeking a deep relationship with Father. Father has also shared with me that contrary to general belief about evangelism, saving the lost, etc., his highest priority is for individuals to seek a deep personal relationship with him and become his friends. To this end, I refer you to the 2 articles, The Creator Desires a Deep Relationship with You, and 7 Components in Drawing Close to the Creator, both of which are on the website. And as I say, this ebook, Where Will You Spend Eternity, is on the website under the web page, Where Will You Spend Eternity, with commentary on the Final Quest. If you've been seriously impacted by this series of broadcasts, I strongly encourage you to download those 3 articles and engage deeply with them. The 7 Components article is the culmination of my journey with Yah over more than 21 years and contains a wealth of valuable guidance that will help you to accelerate your growth in relationship with our Father in heaven if you take what is given and apply it conscientiously. In January this last year, I wrote Closing the 3rd edition in January 2023. I've undertaken a comprehensive review and refresh of this book and particularly corrected some misunderstandings with regard to hell and the lake of fire and brimstone. I've added a few points in comment boxes. This remains a particularly important document, and I encourage you to read the entire book if you've not already done so. In conclusion, please consider what is presented in this broadcast series carefully and prayerfully. If the end were to come today and you were to find yourself before the judgment seat, can you say with absolute certainty whether you would find yourself in heaven or as an ancestor spirit on earth, or utterly rejected? If you think you would be in heaven, would you be on a high throne or in the outer darkness? Do you care? Do you want to sit on a throne for eternity? Please consider prayerfully what you truly want and whether you're willing to pay the price in this life in order to store up treasure in the life to come. And then make what will be the most important decision you will ever make. Will you seek a high throne for eternity? Or at the very least, will you seek a significant position in heaven? Or even less than that, will you seek to make it into heaven at all? And if you don't seek to make it into at least the place of the foolish virgins, you're wasting your time. Or are you content to take your chances as an ancestor spirit, a demon, that you might end up in the coffin with your rotting corpse forever, that you might end up in the remnants of the crematorium oven forever, that you might be taken captive by a witch or a warlock or a Satanist and put to work haunting other human beings and leading them into sin and error and deception and away from Yah. What do you want? What do you want? And I want to make it clear to you, it does not matter who you are or where you are right now. Father Yah will meet you where you are. He will take you by the hand and he will lead you to where you decide you want to go, if you will be obedient, if you will make the sacrifices that are necessary. It doesn't matter whether you're rich or poor, short or tall, thin or fat, educated or uneducated. It doesn't matter whether you're African or Asian or American or European or Caucasian or Indian or whatever. It doesn't matter if you're Hindu or Jewish or Muslim or Buddhist or Christian or a Satanist or a witch or a warlock. It doesn't matter. You were created to be a friend of the Almighty. Forget all this nonsense about chosen people. The people were chosen and the chosen people messed up. It doesn't count anymore. They had their chance. The dispensation has changed. This is no longer about some chosen group of people being Yah's privileged, favored people and the rest not counting. This is about you as an individual. Not the person on the left or the right of you, behind you, in front of you, above you, below you. It's about you. It's about your choice to go wherever you want to go. You can choose to die and be stuck on your rotting corpse, or you can choose to sit on a high throne for eternity with massive supernatural power, with a glorious body, close to the creator of the earth, close to Yeshua, greatly esteemed, forever and ever and ever. What do you want today? To me, there's no contest. But you might think about all the nice things that you have and that you might have to give some of that up. And I've given up a lot. I've damaged relationships. I've suffered loss. I've made numerous mistakes. But I'm still here. I'm still pressing on, seeking that pearl of great price. I encourage you to do the same. Pray with me. Father Yah, in the name of Yeshua, I know now that you want me to be your friend. I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to get there. I ask you to take me by the hand and lead me to a place of glory. Help me to serve you in this life, to earn the reward that you will give me in the life to come. Bring the people you want into my life and take the people you don't want in my life out. Open the doors you want open in my life and close the doors you want closed. Take me by the hand and help me to become your friend. Amen. And he will meet you wherever you are. Don't hesitate. That's the end of Where Will You Spend Eternity, the end of this series of broadcasts. Next week, I plan to start with the letter of Pontius Pilate to Julius Caesar about Yeshua. So I want to close by asking you, what is the state of your relationship with the Almighty Creator? I'd like to ask you to critically examine where you are relative to him. And I've already basically done this, but I want to reiterate. Do you talk to him constantly throughout the day and allow him to lead you in every possible way? Are you conscious of him at all times? Do you worship him at every opportunity? Do you count him your friend? Have you clearly and unambiguously heard him call you friend? If not, you're failing in your life purpose and you'll be bitterly disappointed when you die. Now, I've talked about this in some length already now, and I've given you a prayer that you can pray along with me. These recordings of these broadcasts should be published tomorrow. It's been live streamed to LinkedIn and YouTube. Search for Where Will You Spend Eternity, Part 14. Should be up there within the next 2 or 3 hours. It'll be on my website by about lunchtime Saturday. So that's UK time. It'll be emailed to my mailing list about the same time. It'll be posted to my contacts on WhatsApp about the same time. Be on the ETI YouTube channel as well. Let's go back and just ask yourself, what do you want? So in closing, thank you for listening. Please send me your questions to james@endtimeissueministries.org. Please email me to join the mailing list at james@endtimeissueministries.org. If you decide to draw close to the Almighty, please let me know and I can connect with you by Skype, Zoom, Teams, email, or telephone so that I can help you with your journey. I hope to connect with you again next week when I will continue to explore how to become a friend of the Creator. Work with me to make a way for Yeshua to return in victory at the end of the millennium and make his enemies his footstool. I really, really hope to hear from you. You don't have to contact me. You don't have to tell anybody about your decision. This is between you and the Almighty Creator of the heavens and the earth. Just dip your toe in. Pray the prayer that I gave you a couple of minutes ago. And then do what you find to do. Read what you find to read. Go to the website. Just trust Father to lead you. Look at the keyword cloud, which is there's a web page with that near the top of the website. Just dip in to keywords. Just run your eye over the website and jump into whatever articles get your attention. It's there. Over 30 years experience, which I believe will help you. So I'm going to say goodnight to those of you who listen regularly. For those who are listening for the first time or the first few times, please hold on. I've got a few things I'd like to share with you. So in closing, who am I? James Robertson. I have a doctorate in engineering and I'm a retired military commander. I now work as a management consultant. I have over 31 years' experience of actively seeking to draw close to the Almighty, following a dramatic encounter with him on the 12th of March 1993, when he spoke to me audibly in a locked room and I knew for certain that he was real. In learning about Father, I applied my deep-seated aversion to failure, born out of an accident in early childhood, coupled to my engineering and military training of rigor in preventing failure, to my seeking of knowledge about Father. This journey led to numerous supernatural experiences, prayers answered, and clear communication with the Creator. It forms the basis for what I teach in these programs. See the video, Why Seek Relationship, for an overview of what I believe, near the top of the menu of the website. Please visit my website, www.endtimeissueministries.org. The ETI version of the Bible with the correction of key translation errors is at the ETI Bible version page on the website. Recordings of that's the entire Bible. Recordings of nearly all of the teachings broadcast so far are available on a number of podcast websites on the internet. Search on Google for quote Relationship with Creator Radio unquote, and also transcripts on the Transcripts of Broadcast page on the website. Books with teachings from 1998 to May 2019 are at the Books for Printing page. I publish regular email articles. Email me on james@endtimeissueministries.org to be added to the mailing list or to seek counsel, prayer, or give me feedback. Visit the website and use the Google search, the article keyword cloud, the table of contents, the article search to locate the information you're looking for. Thank you so much. Good night.
Father, I come to you, lifting up my hands. By your grace I stand, just because you love me. I know your flavor.
Hi, I'm James Robertson. I want to ask you, where will you spend eternity? And I want to ask you if you know what is required in order to qualify to sit on a high throne for eternity. Note that heaven is clearly a desirable place to spend eternity. If you're not actively seeking a high throne for eternity, you're missing the point of your existence. Please listen to my broadcast at w4cy.com radio or talk4tv.com. Visit my website at www.endtimeissueministries.org or email me on james@endtimeissueministries.org to find out more. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much.